Welcome to another episode of the Ferris Sports Update. I'm your host, Harrison Watt. This week, it's a huge week in Bulldog country as Ferris State Athletics has three teams that we're going to talk to today, all going to the NCAA tournament. I'm joined by head coach of Ferris State football, Tony Annese, and Rob Bentley's not here because of the incessant winning right now. He's in meetings all day because of all the teams that are just winning nonstop. And, you know, before we get to football, how fun is it just to be around soccer and volleyball and everybody that's in the NCAA tournament is just winning nonstop?
Yeah, it's great. We were actually coming back on Saturday and got a phone call from Sarah Higley saying soccer won, and then volleyball. You should have seen that game, and you know, they 1-5 against Grand Valley, and so you know it's just awesome. You know, it's just really the culture that we have. It's just everybody takes pride in everybody else's success, and we're rooting for each other. And I've said this before, but you know, I was in high school for 25 years, and there's always like that person that, you know, coached a sport that you really just didn't get along with. But in our department, it's just unbelievable the support we have for one another.
As you look forward to your task this week, you know, we'll go back in a minute and look at our highlights from the Wayne State game, but you're back in the NCAA playoffs again, and you know, it's weird that it feels routine because it's not easy to get into the playoffs.
I just said that actually as I was driving over. I was talking to somebody, and they're like, well, when do the playoffs start? And I said, well, I mean, we just got in. They're like, oh, okay. And you know, going back to 2013, we're 8-3 and we didn't get in, and thinking, man, wouldn't it be awesome just to make the playoffs once? And then 14 through now, 8 straight years. It's incredible, and it's just a credit to our guys. You know, their determination and willingness just to, you know, do whatever they need to do to be at their best. It's just incredible.
This past weekend in Detroit, you got a preview of playoff football weather, especially some of the stuff you've been through over the last couple of years. A snowy day down at Wayne State and a Bulldog victory. Yeah,
it was took us all by surprise. You know, Thursday was 75 degrees, and we practiced. It was beautiful, and then as I was driving home, I knew the weather was going to hit. It wasn't going to be great, but I was looking at the forecast, and West Michigan projected a little bit of snow showers, but Detroit did not have that on the forecast, but West Michigan didn't have snow, and Detroit did. So
things look really nice on the highlights here, but I know this is a game you guys really had to grind out. How much of a factor did the weather play into the forecast or into the football game?
Well, it was, you know, as the game wore on, the balls got heavier, and the weather was just more challenging, and so happy to get a quick start. You know, we played pretty well early, and you know, we had a 30-7 lead. Here, you know, Carson just pulls people over to get in the end zone, and we were 37 at halftime, and it was probably one of the worst third quarters of our time here. It was really challenging, but we ended up getting out of there with a 40-14 victory.
Wayne State, I know, despite their record, always a tough team. How thankful were you to go in there? And I know you've got guys banged up and guys out right now, but just to go in and you just grind it out, and it's, you know, score-wise it's convincing, even if it's not process-wise convincing.
Yeah, no, you know, Wayne State had really a lot of close ball games with a lot of teams, and just lost in heartbreaking fashion to Michigan Tech and to Davenport and to Saginaw, and so, you know, that's just to name 3 of them. But it was a concern for me going over there, knowing that we're 1 win away from being in the playoffs. But it was a huge victory, and just happy to get out of there thinking, man, you know, we're 9-1 and back in the playoffs.
People ask you this question, it seems like every year, because it seems like you have to play a team twice, and I know how much you get sick of it, but I'm going to twist it around a little bit. You've seen teams twice, and it's difficult because you know each other so well, and sometimes the inches are hard to gain, but when you look at it, how many times can you think of that you played a team twice in 3 weeks?
Well, that, and we played them twice. Last year, the GLIAC had that. We played somebody twice, and it happened to be Davenport. So we played them twice last year. We played them, obviously, a couple weeks ago, and now we got to play them again. added to that fact, you know, we know each other really well because, you know, Sparky was with us for a long time here. AJ played for us. He's the DC. And so Juwan Lewis played for us. He's our running back coach. Bart Estola coached for us. He coaches for him now. So there's just a lot of connections, too. And add to that, you know, they're just down the road. So there's a lot to it for sure. You can't focus on it. You just get ready for another game, and the game will start 0-0, and we'll see what happens.
Does it speed up your prep at all, knowing that they haven't changed significantly in 2 weeks as opposed to had you played them at like the beginning of September?
Well, yeah, you're sitting there with already a game plan in hand. You know, they're sitting with a game plan in hand, and then you make tweaks to it. And so we haven't really talked about our tweaks yet, but we'll see what happens. But you know, they're a feisty bunch for sure, and they had a great season. Nobody can take away what they did on the field. You know, last time they were here, they were undefeated, and so they got a lot of pride, and they'll come ready to battle.
You know, you look at their results the last 2 weeks, and obviously you guys beat them 28-7. Grand Valley did what they did at Davenport. Mentally, how do you get your guys to not look at prior results so that they don't feel a little complacent knowing, well, we should win this game by 3 scores because we already did? Because that's where the danger comes into these games.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. For one, it's a new season right now. 2, our guys have been through new seasons. So a lot of the veterans, you know, they were on that field last year in the playoffs. So, you know, we had to do it last year in our first playoff game playing, you know, GV again. And, you know, we brought our best. And so I anticipate we'll bring our best on Saturday.
The nice draw being the 2 seed is, well, I know you'd have liked to be the top seed. At least losing a game, you do end up in that 2 seed. How nice is it to know that if you win this round, you're going to be at home at least for one more?
Well, it's a credit to you know, whoever decided to put us as a 2 seed. But I guess I start with Steve Brocklebank getting us I guess our strength of schedule was like, you know, record-breaking, like the best strength of schedule, I guess, in history. But so it's a credit to Lenore Rhine for winning a lot. Central Washington, they had a great season. But the one that really turned it on was Findlay. After we beat Findlay, they won 6 straight. And so those games, and then obviously our conference, you know, teams like Saginaw and teams like that did great in their non-conference play. Obviously Davenport did great in their non-conference play. So it just gives you a lot of winning teams that we played this year, and that helped our strength of schedule.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks, Harrison. Appreciate it.
Wishing Ferris State football good luck this weekend in the first round of the NCAA tournament as they take on Davenport, a top Taggart field. More information at ferrisstatebulldogs.com. We'll be right back with our next segment, the Ferris Sports Update.